Welcome back to our series on the publication titled U.S. Hegemony and Its Perils that has been circulating among Chinese embassies. As a direct assault on the dominant position of the United States, this document marks a significant departure from China's typical approach to geopolitical matters. In this second installment, we'll be exploring China's critique of the military hegemony of the United States. As China takes a more confrontational stance towards the U.S., it's crucial to understand the underlying tensions and implications of this shift. Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Geopolitics and Money, the #1 channel where finance, commodities, geopolitics, and investing intersect. Our mission is to furnish you with cutting-edge analysis and trends in the spheres of precious metals, digital assets, commodities, and investing. By opting to subscribe to our channel, you'll be empowered with the tools and knowledge necessary to stay one step ahead of the curve, always in the know about the latest developments. Let's get straight to the point and dive into China's stance on the military hegemony of the United States. In this segment, we'll explore the details of China's criticisms and gain a deeper understanding of the implications for the global balance of power. What now follows is the second part of the publication that talks about the military hegemony of the U.S. on the world stage. These are the literal words of the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and we quote, "The history of the United States is characterized by violence and expansion. Since it gained independence in 1776, the United States has constantly sought expansion by force. It slaughtered Indians, invaded Canada, waged a war against Mexico, instigated the American-Spanish War, and annexed Hawaii. After World War II, the wars either provoked or launched by the United States included the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Gulf War, the Kosovo War, the war in Afghanistan, the Iraq War, the Libyan War, and the Syrian War, abusing its military hegemony to pave the way for expansionist objectives. In recent years, the U.S. average annual military budget has exceeded $700 billion, accounting for 40% of the world's total, more than the 15 countries behind it combined. The United States has about 800 overseas military bases, with 173,000 troops deployed in 159 countries. According to the book America Invades: How We've Invaded or Been Militarily Involved with Almost Every Country on Earth, the United States has fought or been militarily involved with almost all the 190-odd countries recognized by the United Nations, with only 3 exceptions. The 3 countries were spared because the United States did not find them on the map. As former U.S. President Jimmy Carter put it, the United States is undoubtedly the most warlike nation in the history of the world. According to a Tufts University report introducing the Military Intervention Project, a new dataset on U.S. military interventions 1776 to 2019, the United States undertook nearly 400 military interventions globally between those years, 34% of which were in Latin America and the Caribbean, 23% in East Asia and the Pacific, 14% in the Middle East and North Africa, and 13% in Europe. Currently, its military intervention in the Middle East and North Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa is on the rise. Alex Lowe, a South China Morning Post columnist, pointed out that the United States has rarely distinguished between diplomacy and war since its founding. It overthrew democratically elected governments in many developing countries in the 20th century and immediately replaced them with pro-American puppet regimes. Today, in Ukraine, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, Pakistan, and Yemen, the United States is repeating its old tactics of waging proxy, low-intensity, and drone wars. U.S. military hegemony has caused humanitarian tragedies. Since 2001, the wars and military operations launched by the United States in the name of fighting terrorism have claimed over 900,000 lives, with some 335,000 of them civilians, injured millions, and displaced tens of millions. The 2003 Iraq War resulted in some 200,000 to 250,000 civilian deaths, including over 16,000 directly killed by the U.S. military, and left more than 1 million homeless. The United States has created 37 million refugees around the world. Since 2012, the number of Syrian refugees alone has increased tenfold. Between 2016 and 2019, 33,584 civilian deaths were documented in the Syrian fightings, including 3,833 killed by U.S.-led coalition bombings, half of them women and children. The Public Broadcasting Service, PBS, reported on the 9th of November 2018 that the airstrikes launched by U.S. forces on Raqqa alone killed 1,600 Syrian civilians. The 2 decades-long war in Afghanistan devastated the country. A total of 47,000 Afghan civilians and 66,000 to 69,000 Afghan soldiers and police officers unrelated to the September 11 attacks were killed in U.S. military operations, and more than 10 million people were displaced. The war in Afghanistan destroyed the foundation of economic development there and plunged the Afghan people into destitution. After the Kabul debacle in 2021, the United States announced that it would freeze some $9.5 billion in assets belonging to the Afghan Central Bank, a move considered as pure looting. In September 2022, Turkish Interior Minister Süleyman Soylu commented at a rally that the United States has waged a proxy war in Syria, turned Afghanistan into an opium field and heroin factory, thrown Pakistan into turmoil, and left Libya in incessant civil unrest. The United States does whatever it takes to rob and enslave the people of any country with underground resources. The United States has also adopted appalling methods in war. During the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Gulf War, the Kosovo War, the war in Afghanistan, and the Iraq War, the United States used massive quantities of chemical and biological weapons as well as cluster bombs, fuel air bombs, graphite bombs, and depleted uranium bombs, causing enormous damage on civilian facilities, countless civilian casualties, and lasting environmental pollution. End of quote. This document was released the day before Russian President Vladimir Putin's important annual speech. Additionally, during a visit to President Putin by Wang Yi, Minister of Foreign Affairs of China, it was made clear that the ties between Russia and China are stronger than ever. This raises questions as to why these ties are so strong, and why China is now making remarkably harsh criticisms of the U.S. What is China hoping to achieve? According to their own words, they are coordinating a new era, moving towards a multipolar world order. This is the message that Wang Yi conveyed to President Putin, as can be read on the website of the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The China-Russia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership of Coordination for a New Era has never targeted any third party, nor does it tolerate any third party's interference or coercion. This is because China-Russia relations enjoy a solid political, economic, and cultural foundation, as well as calmness and clear head from reviewing the past. More importantly, this is because a multipolar world and greater democracy in international relations, which China and Russia jointly support, are in line with the trend of the times and meet the aspirations of most countries. China is ready to work with Russia to maintain strategic resolve, deepen political mutual trust, strengthen strategic coordination, expand practical cooperation, and defend the legitimate interest of both countries to play a constructive role in promoting world peace and development. It appears that we are in the midst of transitioning towards a multipolar world order, in which the USA, Russia, and China will emerge as pivotal players, each vying for influence and power in the international arena. In our upcoming videos, we will delve into China's scathing criticisms of the United States' economic, technological, and cultural dominance. Don't miss out on the latest updates. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. Thanks for watching.